Today's video is all about rereads and some classics I feel like I am due a reread of. These are classics that I have read previously but I haven't read anytime recently, and I would like to, I think, dip back into them and maybe just revisit them because I can't remember or because I just really remember enjoying them. The first book I want to reread at some point in the future is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I read this at school and I studied it, as I'm sure many people in Britain did, for GCSE or A-level, one of the two. And I kind of went into a lot of depth about the story, even though it is a tiny book. And I remember getting frustrated and not really feeling a connection with the characters. It's a book that's set in America at a time that we didn't really have in American British history. So I struggle with that. I remember a lot of people making fun of the characters and not really inputting or discussing it in a way that I felt was relevant to me or I actually enjoyed. So I want to kind of go back and just reread it and see how I experienced it when I'm not reading it for school, because I think that can really impact how you enjoy a book or also how you interpret it. The next book I have on my list to reread at some point is Watership Down by Richard Adams. Now, I read this when I was at primary school and then I read it again when I was in secondary school at book club, which was a thing. But I can't really remember much about it. I remember kind of being surprised by it, horrified by it, and being very, I don't know, engrossed in the story. I remember looking forward to book club a lot. I just strangely just can't really remember much of the plot. So I really am due a reread in this one. I haven't seen an adaptation. I know there was a movie a few years back. I definitely watched something when I was at primary school, but I don't remember. I just remember this cover in particular being horrifying. And I think everyone, whenever I mention Watership Down, kind of looks at me and goes, oh, okay. So there's something that happens in it. I just can't remember. Maybe I blocked it out. But this one I'm definitely due a reread for, just in general, to try and remember the story and give it another go. And then finally for this video, I thought I would include Pride and Prejudice, and I have this gorgeous LitJoy edition which comes in its own folio box in black and gold and has amazing illustrations, because I read Pride and Prejudice for the first time and the last time actually during the pandemic, so it would have been in 2020, and I haven't read it since, and we're now halfway through 2025, so it's been 5 years since I read the book, and there's been a lot about Pride and Prejudice because of the 20th anniversary of the Keira Knightley movie, and I've reread a few Jane Austens in the last few years, Sense and Sensibility, Northanger Abbey, but I haven't read Pride and Prejudice except for that one time, and it was the last Jane Austen's novel I read, the last completed novel, and I just feel like I need to go back and revisit it because I remember loving it and being surprised. It took me until I read everything else she ever written to read the book that everyone tells you to read first, so that's why it's high up on my list. There we go, short and sweet, 3 books that I would like to reread. Let me know if you've read or reread any of these and if there are any books that you're due a reread of.